is meeting the Secretaries of State and Defense. Top of Bennett's agenda is stopping U.S. efforts to restore a nuclear deal with Iran. He's going to meet U.S. President Joe Biden at the White House later. Hoda Abdel-Hamid has more from West Jerusalem on what to expect from the visit.
He was once a U.S. citizen, son of immigrants who settled on the West Coast. Now Naftali Bennett is going to the White House as Prime Minister of Israel, a key ally of the United States, but whose relations with Democrats in the U.S. were somewhat fraught during the premiership of his predecessor, Benjamin Netanyahu.
It's been very clear from the beginning that the goals of both Naftali Bennett and Foreign Minister Yair Lapid were to rebuild the bipartisan nature of the relationship that they thought was lacking during the 12 years under Netanyahu, who really focused on the Republican Party.
Also top of the agenda is Iran. Israel opposing efforts made by the Biden administration to return to the 2015 agreement, which Biden's predecessor pulled out from. And after the targeting of an Israeli-managed ship in the Gulf of Oman, Bennett is trying to bring about an international consensus when it comes to retaliation. But gone are the days of Trump, when an Israeli prime minister appeared to be able to dictate the Middle East foreign policy of the White House. The Biden administration favoring a two-state solution when it comes to dealing with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Bennett has already scored a point with the Biden administration. The U.S. consulate here in occupied East Jerusalem that deals with Palestinians was shut by the Trump administration. There was talk about reopening it, but at the request of Israel, the State Department has shelved that plan, at least for now. Time to allow the new Israeli government to pass the budget in the Knesset by November, necessary for the ruling coalition to survive.
Look, the Democratic administration is fully aware of the very delicate nature of Israel's coalition and the fact that basically Israel's Prime Minister is treading on eggs all the time, and therefore he has to be very cautious, very careful.
Since Bennett took office, the U.S. State Department has made statements against house demolitions and illegal Jewish settlement expansions in the occupied Palestinian territory, which Bennett has been an advocate of since his entry in political life.
These are good steps, but not enough. It's lip service. Biden should say the only solution is to end the occupation, because the image of Israel today in the world is one of apartheid, ethnic cleansing and racism. It's very uncomfortable for the US to be associated with that.
Opinions are changing in the US when it comes to Israel. Bennett's visit comes at a time when progressives within the Democratic Party are pushing to recalibrate the relationship between the two countries. Calls for conditioning military aid to Israel and open criticism have moved from the fringe to the floors of Congress. With that in mind, Bennett's toughest challenge is to convince the American public that he is the face of a government which is inclusive in more than just in name. Hoda Abdel-Hamid, Aljazeera, West Jerusalem.